What's up guys, Sollertis Gamer here, and in this video we're going to take a look at 9 secrets and random encounters in Hogwarts Legacy you may not have noticed. Yes, we're going to be talking about a trip to Azkeban, the famous prison for Dark Lords. We're going to be looking at how a Hogwarts professor had a bad brush with time that made her appear much older than she actually is. We'll also get into a bit of the Harry Potter lore as it relates to Hogwarts Legacy, and I'll also show you how to solve one of the most difficult Merlin Trials, so it's going to be awesome. But before we get into it, I just want to remind you to cast a spell on that like button if you enjoy this content, and cast a pulso on that subscribe button if you want to see more. Also, if you're a big Hogwarts Legacy fan, stay tuned to the end of the video as I will have something special for you. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number 1, Lawley's Cellar. Now, if you are playing and haven't gotten to the Room of Requirement and don't have enough galleons to buy combat plants, there is one option that can yield you a treasure trove of these very useful items. All you have to do is go here in Hogsmeade to Lawley's Cellar. Now, there is a door that you would need to use Alohomora on. However, you can simply go around that door by going to this cubby on the left. You'll have to fight a few thornbacks, but after this, you'll be rewarded with all sorts of plant goodies. Number 2, you may or may not know that if you play the game as a Hufflepuff, you get to go to Azkeban, the infamous prison for dark wizards and anyone who breaks the laws of the wizarding world. Now, to get to Azkeban, you'll first have to interact with the portrait of Eldridge Diggory in the Hufflepuff Common Room. Now, Eldridge Diggory is a famous member of the Diggory family, as he was appointed Minister for Magic in 1733 and re-elected in 1740. He also created the Aura program for recruiting future wizard police cadets. Now, you might remember Cedric Diggory, the Tri-Wizard champion who died when Wormtail Avada Kedavra'd him at the behest of Voldemort during the 1994 Quidditch World Cup, as seen in the Goblet of Fire. So Eldritch recruits our character to solve a decades-old murder and asks us to go visit his great niece, Helen Thistlewood, herself a retired Auror, and she asks us to accompany her to Azkeban, as she makes this statement to appease our character's potential apprehension about apparating with her.
Steady yourself. We'll apparate together. Don't worry, I've never splinched anyone.
Now, you may recall that Ron Weasley was splinched in Deathly Hallows Part 1, where he, Hermione, and Harry were fleeing the Ministry and got caught up while fighting a pursuer from the Ministry and apparating. Here's a quick clip of Nick Dudman, a special effects makeup artist who worked on Ron's splinched arm, explaining what it is and how they achieved this effect.
Ron has this hideous injury on his left shoulder. We did a whole series of designs of this to see if we could find what a splinch was. And here you can see an early version that since when people apparate, they do this sort of convoluted, twisty move.
That ought to keep them at bay for now. Though, be aware, you may feel a wave of despair. It will pass.
Are you Anne?
Who's there? Who speaks to me? Is that death finally come for me?
I'm a student from Hogwarts. I found the book that you said would exonerate you.
Ah, the book. No one would look. None of the mages found the pages. Methinks the feckless knave meandered to his cave. My fate was surely sealed in Upper Hoggyfield.
Are you saying that the missing pages are in a cave near Upper Hogsfield?
Hogsfield, ruins house, a vault concealed.
A vault in some ruins near Upper Hogsfield? I suppose it can't hurt to look.
Can't hurt to look. Go find the pages from your book. Helen, no, you're here. Come in closer, be a dear.
What is it, Anne?
Number 3, you may recall that we get to meet a historian named Nora Treadwell, who is researching Merlin's work and tells us all about the Merlin Trials. Now, if you did like I did, you may not have noticed or followed up on Nora mentioning a woman named Priya.
Well, you've avoided them for the moment. Priya warned me things were getting dangerous.
Well, it turns out that if you go here on the map, you can actually meet Priya Treadwell at one of the pop-up shops. Here's what Priya says when you meet her.
I'm Priya Treadwell, at your service, and I sell a variety of traveling necessities.
Are you related to Nora Treadwell?
Why, yes, she's my wife. Brilliant historian. Did you know that she's pursuing Merlin's life's work?
Number 4, the Unspeakable. After finishing Hogwarts Legacy, I decided to go back to the castle and have conversations with my professors, and had a very interesting conversation with Professor Hecat. Professor Hecat used to work for the Ministry as an Unspeakable. Unspeakables work for the Ministry of Magic to study taboo things like love, death, and time. And Professor Hecat's appearance serves as an example of the dangerous things that can happen to someone when studying these subjects. It was the work of Unspeakables who investigated and studied the nature of time that yielded such artifacts as the famous time turner that Professor McGonagall gave to Hermione in The Prisoner of Azkeban. Here, Professor Hecat explains that she's actually younger than she looks, and she was wounded by time and is unable to speak about the work she did as an Unspeakable, hence the name.
I can tell you, however, that I did once admonish a certain Phineas Nigellus Black for enjoying a sugar quill during a lecture.
I hadn't realized that you and Professor Black were, students here together.
Appearances can be deceiving. You see, I was once wounded by time itself.
Time itself? I never would have imagined such a thing.
Ah, well, it was the risk I took with my prior position. You may or may not have heard that I was an Unspeakable at the Ministry for years.
An Unspeakable? What does...
As you might suspect, I cannot speak about what we did. Suffice it to say, the job was not without its hazards.
Number 5, Barrel Transfiguration. Now, if you have the talent for it, you can transfigure enemies into barrels that explode when you hurl them at other enemies. This can be invaluable when fighting lots of enemies. Also, notice how one of Rookwood's goons makes a reference to the fact that we saved Nora Treadwell earlier.
I know the sod that saved Treadwell.
Number 6, one of the most difficult Merlin Trials. Now, I don't know about you, but I had a hard time with a few of the Merlin Trials. However, with a bit of trial and error, I figured out that to solve the trials with the cubes that have symbols on them, you have to use Levioso or Wingardium Leviosa to lift them, Arresto Momentum to slow down their descent, and Flipendo to rotate them so that the proper symbols are aligned with their respective bases. Do this with all 3 cubes and the trial is solved. Number 7, the Giant Squid. Now, there are a few rare and random occurrences of a giant squid in the Black Lake. Many of you may remember we got a brief glimpse of this squid when we first learned to ride our brooms during Broom flight class. But you can also get a glimpse of this elusive creature as a Slytherin in the Slytherin Common Room. If you go over to the set of windows on the far right and do a basic spell cast on the windows, you'll get to see the giant squid put its fin on the glass. However, you can also see the giant squid appear randomly during any given flyover of the Black Lake. This occurrence allows us to see a lot more of the giant squid and its many tentacles. Number 8, Boomerang projectiles. Now, if you have the talent for it, you can catch and throw projectiles from enemies right back at them. This also comes in handy when fighting the Ranrock Dragon near the end of the game. And lastly, number 9. It took me a few hours of flying after getting my broom to realize that you can pick up chests, loot, and plants while flying on your broom. This is so much better than having to hop off every single time you want to collect something. Now, for those of you die-hard Hogwarts Legacy fans who stayed to the end of this video, we are giving away a copy of The Art and Making of Hogwarts Legacy, Exploring the Unwritten Wizarding World book. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and click the link in the pinned comment. Also, if you don't want to try your hand at winning the book and just prefer to buy it outright, there's a link in the description, and disclaimer, it is an affiliate link, which means I'll get a small kickback if you purchase the book using this link. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to cast a spell on that like button, as it really helps us out with the algorithm. And if you want to see more, go ahead and cast a pulso on that subscribe button. I'm Sollertis Gamer. I wish you a fantastic day, and I'll see you on the other side. Peace.